Climate's Edge, the Frost Protocol. High above the sprawling megacity, protected by a transparent weather dome, a figure perched on the edge of a skyscraper's rooftop, his gaze piercing through the engineered clarity of an artificially perfect sky. Frost, once the prodigious talent of the Global Climate Institute, had abandoned the allure of a corporate career to become the very storm he once sought to control. His sharp blue eyes, reflecting the chaos he could unleash with just a few strokes on his mobile device, scanned the horizon for the next target of his digital tempest. Below him, the city thrummed with the rhythm of a society oblivious to the natural rhythms of weather, their climates packaged and sold by corporations with towering offices that punctured the skyline like obelisks of power. But not all were blind to the manipulation. A shadow moved through the underbrush on the outskirts of the city, where nature still fought to reclaim land. Tara Hunt, a former military engineer turned eco-assassin, her green eyes as focused as her mission. She, along with allies like Rain Silva and Cyrus Gale, sought to restore balance, believing that Frost's disruptive antics only further justified the tightening grip of corporate control. Unbeknownst to them, high within one such obelisk, Dr. Nora Vex observed the unfolding drama. Her silver-streaked black hair framed a face hardened by determination to maintain her vision of controlled weather salvation. To her, Frost was not just a renegade, but a key piece in a larger puzzle. A puzzle that, once solved, promised to reveal secrets that could either save humanity or cast it further into chaos. As the sun set, casting long shadows over both the urban expanse and the wild landscapes beyond, the stage was set for a confrontation that could redefine the future of the planet. Little did they know, Frost was about to unveil something that would change the course of their battle forever. The city's protective dome flickered briefly under the strain of the latest tempest, a testament to the power Frost wielded at his fingertips. This storm, however, was different. It was a message, a bold declaration of his discontent with the industries that sought to cage the very elements of nature. Yet, the brilliance of his artificial lightning was matched by the silent determination of those it beckoned. Tara Hunt's approach was methodical, her movements almost invisible against the backdrop of the storm-lashed city. The tracking device in her hand led her unerringly towards Frost, the man whose actions had cost her more than he could comprehend. Each step brought her closer to her quarry, her heart beating a steady rhythm that echoed her military discipline and the personal loss that fueled her mission. Simultaneously, Frost navigated the increasingly chaotic weather with a practiced ease, his mind working through the layers of encryption and security that veiled the deeper secrets of his former employers. With each breach, he gathered more evidence, more understanding of the vast conspiracy that used the climate as both weapon and commodity. His initial thrill and disruption had evolved into a crusader's zeal, and he knew the dangers it invited. In the heart of the storm, Frost sensed rather than saw the shift in the atmosphere. It wasn't the barometric pressure or the wind's howl, but the subtle cues of an impending confrontation. Tara, with her precision honed by years of military service, was close, her presence nearly palpable in the charged air. Meanwhile, Rain Silva and Cyrus Gale, each driven by their own complex motives, converged on the scene, their paths dictated by a shared goal to expose the truth and halt the rampant manipulation of nature. As lightning split the sky, illuminating the urban landscape in stark relief, the disparate forces moving against Frost tighten their net. Terra emerged from the shadows, her eyes fixed on Frost with a clarity born of grief and purpose. Rain, observing from a distance, prepared to intervene, while Cyrus, ever the survivalist, approached with the stealth of a seasoned hunter. The stage was set, the players assembled, and the city held its breath, waiting for the storm to break, not just above but among those who dared to wield its power. The moment stretched thin, each second vibrating with the potential of allyship or further conflict. Rain, his demeanor always measured, nodded slowly. "We take your evidence and use it, but this doesn't absolve you of the chaos you've caused." Cyrus stepped forward, his rugged face hard with resolve. "We're in, but remember, you're not calling the shots anymore. We do this together." As the security drones drew closer, their mechanical buzz slicing through the tense air, Terra finally sighed, her expression complex, a mixture of anger and reluctant agreement. "All right, Frost. Let's expose the real storm." Working swiftly, the group formed a semicircle around Frost, their bodies angled to protect him and his crucial hacking device. Terra and Cyrus monitored the incoming drones, ready to intercept. Rain assisted Frost, his keen eyes scanning for any trapdoors in the code that might sabotage their efforts. Frost's fingers flew across the device, finalizing the transmission of the decrypted files directly to various watchdog groups and credible media outlets. As he worked, he explained further. Vex's manipulation doesn't stop at emotional states. She plans to initiate extreme weather events to trigger specific societal responses, essentially steering human evolution according to her design. The gravity of the situation settled on each of them like a heavy cloak. If Frost's claims were true, Vex's manipulation represented a new frontier of tyranny, one that danced invisibly in the air they breathed. Just as the final byte of data was sent, the drones arrived, flooding the area with harsh light. "Done," Frost yelled over the roar. "It's out." Cyrus and Terra engaged the drones, their movements a blend of precision and urgency. Rain grabbed Frost's arm, pulling him back as they retreated toward a nearby underground tunnel for escape. The eco-assassins, along with Frost, disappeared into the darkness of the tunnel, the echoes of their flight mingling with the chaotic noise of the drones above. They were no longer just hunters and the hunted. They were unlikely allies bound by a shared goal, to reveal and dismantle a conspiracy that could change the very fabric of human existence. As they navigated the labyrinthine undercity, each was acutely aware that their actions in the next few hours would dictate the future not just of themselves, but of the entire world. In a remote, abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, Terra, Rain, and Cyrus crouched around a holographic display that flickered with the blueprints of the corporation's central hub. The air was thick with anticipation, and the metallic tang of rain that never quite touched the ground, filtered out by the immense weather dome encapsulating the city. Terra's fingers danced across the display, highlighting security checkpoints and sensor grids, her face a mask of concentration. Rain adjusted his glasses, pointing to a section of the schematic where the mainframe was housed. "There," he stated, his voice a low whisper, "that's where they control the distribution algorithms for the weather nodes." The implications of infiltrating such a system were massive. They could redirect, dismantle, or expose the mechanisms that had held the world in a climatic chokehold. Cyrus, his brow furrowed under a mop of unruly hair, chimed in with the logistics. We'll need a distraction. Something big enough to draw security away from the main control room. His mind raced through possibilities. Environmental anomalies, false alarms, anything that could buy them precious minutes. Enter Frost. He slipped into the dimly lit space like a shadow, his presence almost unnoticed until he spoke. What about a mirror storm? He suggested. The others turned, eyes narrowing in both curiosity and skepticism. A hyper-realistic projection of a storm, indistinguishable from the ones we create. It would trigger their emergency protocols, pull their forces outward. Tara pondered, eyes darting between Frost and the hologram. The tension between them was palpable, remnants of past grievances and battles fought on opposite sides. Yet here they were, united by a greater threat. She gave a curt nod. Do it. But we need precision. We can't afford a miscalculation. Frost's hands moved to his own device, fingers tapping rhythmically. I'll need access to their satellite feed. Rain, can you handle the encryption bypass? Rain's nod was accompanied by a slight smile, the thrill of the challenge sparking in his eyes. As Frost and Rain bent over their respective gadgets, Tara and Cyrus prepared their gear. Each weapon, each tool, carefully selected for efficiency and necessity. The warehouse was silent, but for the soft clicking of keys and the low hum of the hologram. Plans laid and roles assigned, they moved as one toward the target, the city's artificially clear night sky stretching out above them. The stakes were higher than any storm Frost had ever conjured for fun. This time, they were not just bending the weather. They were about to try and break a system that spanned the globe. Their alliance, formed from necessity and solidified by a shared recognition of their enemy's scope, propelled them forward. Though each carried their own scars and secrets, tonight they shared a single shadow, cast by the towering edifice that housed the very heart of the global weather conspiracy. They were ready to strike, not just to disrupt, but to reclaim the very essence of nature itself. In the softening glow of the evening, the world seemed to pause, a rare, unscripted sunset painting the horizon in hues of gold and amber, untouched by human interference. The massive screens that once dictated the weather now flashed the latest updates on governmental reforms and the establishment of an international watchdog for climate ethics, a direct consequence of the truths laid bare by Frost and the eco-assassins. Frost, perched atop one of the now dormant weather towers, watched the city breathe beneath him. The chaotic thrill-seeker, who once danced in the eye of artificially conjured storms, found himself at a crossroads. Having dismantled the very systems he once manipulated for sport, what was his place in this reborn world? A world that was cautiously knitting itself back together, learning to trust the natural rhythm of the seasons. His reflection on the skyscraper's glass revealed a man changed, not just by the battles fought, but by the realization of what stood to be lost. Below him, Tara Hunt and her comrades, including Rain Silva and Cyrus Gale, convened in the shadows of an abandoned warehouse turned command center. The fight against environmental exploitation had scored a significant victory, but their war was not over. Corruption and greed didn't surrender easily, and there were still those in the shadows of power corridors who would seek to control the forces of nature for their own ends. As the first natural night in years fell upon the city, the populace too faced uncertainty. How would they adapt to a world where the weather wasn't a commodity? What lessons would they carry forward from the time when humanity held the reins of the clouds and the winds? In the calm that followed the storm of revolution, remember this: wielding power over nature demands humility, not hubris. As the lines between controller and caretaker blur, we must choose wisely, for the health of our planet and the generations to come depends not just on the technology we create, but on the compassion with which we wield it.